Introducing LT Defense Tactical Gear, your ultimate solution for top-notch protection and performance in the field. Our armor bundles provide unmatched safety and comfort, while our battle belts and holsters ensure quick and easy access to your gear. Stay prepared for any situation with our high-quality medical supplies, designed to keep you ready for action at all times. Looking to enhance your skills? Our firearms training programs will take your proficiency to the next level. Trust LT Defense for all your tactical gear needs and gear up for success on the battlefield.
The fact that
cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gab-fed show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hello, friends. I'm Kent Skelton, and I'm so glad you are here. Together we can battle this struggle and find freedom from it all. Life is continuous, and it would be ridiculous to say that you or I don't experience those seconds, minutes, hours, or days that seem like they'll never end. Time continues on, regardless of how we feel or what we experience. We search, longingly for a way to handle and navigate through these situations we are experiencing. There has to be a way. Surely I can find the solution to get rid of these negative experiences and periods of despair I am feeling. Maybe it's not our own problems, but those of family members or loved ones that are living in pain. These pains may come from alcoholism, addictions, illness, grief, boredom, and in so many other forms. What will we do? Where is that light I'm supposed to be able to see at the end of the tunnel? When will I see it? When will this end? The timing to realize you need help is up to each of us. That's you, that's me. We are each individually accountable for ourselves. We have to make the change, and the timing is now. There's no time like the present to desire and begin that road to recovery. Together, let's reach that freedom from struggle.
Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing this afternoon? Freedom from Struggle show here, and we got. Can you hear that? I'm getting a little talk back over here, but we're gonna try to get rid of that real quick, okay? And Eva, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself while I'm having this little difficulty back here on my side, just in case you can hear that.
Okay, no, we can't hear it. Hi, everybody. My name is Eva Fulton. I am the host for we talked about this tongue twister, right? I am the host of the From Pain to Purpose show. I am launching right after today's show, so I'll be dropping off early to switch to my station, and we'll be starting at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. So looking forward to talking with Healy today. And I guess Fred's he's still hand signaling. He's having some sound issues. Healy, I understand you are also an author, right? Yes.
Yes, I am a new one.
Welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kind of neat, huh?
It is. It is. So what's the name of your book?
I've got a few, but the one I promote most is called Changing Your Feelings, and it's an anxiety it's a workbook for anxiety and worry, basically just using my experience as a counselor to help people work through anxiety, worry, and other things that they may struggle with.
Wow, that's interesting, because I know there are a lot of people that suffer from that. Where I don't know where Red's going with everything, but where can people, I don't want to lose this moment, where can people find your book, this particular workbook, or any others that you have?
Well, all my books are on Amazon, of course, but if you want it to be signed, you can go to my website, writtenbyhealy.com, and order from there, and I will autograph it for you and put a special message if you want one.
So if you'll do me a favor, probably like during the first break that we have, the first commercial break, if you will go ahead and put your links in our internal private chat, then we can share them out on the public chat. That'll go out with all of the listeners.
Okay. Sounds good. Will do.
Yeah.
Hey, that's awesome.
All right. You good,
I am
Red?
back. I'm back.
Okay.
Hey.
Healy, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Those tech issues are annoying.
Oh my goodness.
I'm glad you could fix it though.
I really I thought it was coming out over, being broadcast, and I was like, oh my gosh. And it was a few seconds behind also, so it wasn't live. It was this show, but about 10 or 15 seconds late. And I was like, oh my gosh, and so I'm hearing everything double. I was like, well, maybe Eva, I'm so glad you're here again today.
Hey, tag teaming is always good, because we don't have, our producer Joel on, so he gets some private time. H Train is amazing.
H Train, he's our leader here at Military Broadcast Radio. We got a number of other hosts. We're growing and growing. We got over 30 hosts, over 30 shows going now, plus live DJs on the radio. Healy, I watch your Facebook site, Written by Healy. I still haven't had the chance to read some of your works, but I hear about it, and I've been watching some of your podcasts, and I'm looking forward. I put in the description today on the show that I was going to be busy on here recruiting Healy Eichert to come on our show, and so we can have some Written by Healy on Military Broadcast Radio on a regular basis. So, hey, look, I do want a signature. All right. I want signatures and autographed books, and
wow,
but I really would look forward to you being on Military
You
Broadcast
didn't ask
Radio.
me for an autographed book of mine.
Well, I'm going to get that. That's just understood.
It's just because I'm a stranger. That's why.
And plus, that was because Eva. I knew Eva was coming on the show. She was going to be here. She was going to be with us.
Mm-hmm.
She's an extraordinary woman, I believe, and especially with the women veterans, and just with their schooling, soon to be a doctor. She's working on that now, and prayers are with you for sure. Yeah. And I know it's going to be a lot of work. But Eva, why don't you share real quick what you're thinking now as far as your work and your doctorate?
So I'm making a slight transition from veterans and disaster events, and switching to really based on women veterans, and because we have the largest population ever of women veterans, and it's going to get higher by the time 2053, according to the VA statistics. So that'll be projected by then. We're going to have 18% of the veteran population as women veterans, and so
That's a big
I'm
group.
getting my doctorate in public administration. So that means that there's a lot of room for what do federal agencies, nonprofits, and states, what direction do we need to go from the public policy and public administration side of things to take care of women veterans. So
Right,
that's the
right.
direction I'm going.
Well, Healy, I know you do your podcast. Where can we see your podcast? Have you got any works on that you really want to share with us today?
Well, I am a new podcaster, so I've only been, I think tomorrow's my 3-month anniversary. Woohoo.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Happy
So
anniversary, Healy.
I was asking my husband, do you want to celebrate?
Yeah.
Like,
y'all ought
but
to.
anyway.
It's a
Yeah.
milestone. Not everybody does it, so it's all right.
Yeah. So I talk about mental health on there, trying to help people just, learn the things that I teach clients in session every day. And so you can find my podcast like anywhere you listen to podcasts, I think.
Okay.
I don't do video, mainly because I'm a little ADD. It's hard to concentrate on all this stuff. So, but I do have a channel on YouTube too. So if you just want to listen to the audio there, but otherwise it's everywhere else, I think, like Spotify and Apple and all the other places.
Well,
So,
hey, I urge you and not, not to be taking advantage of you right here, but I would love for you to throw this show, share it on your YouTube channel and for people to hear more about you, military broadcast radio. And of course, from my YouTube channel, Red's Roundtable. And look, people, if you're seeing this on YouTube, subscribe to us. We would love to have you subscribe. Now we know Healy's also got a YouTube channel. Eva, do you have an active YouTube channel yourself?
I actually have a couple of YouTube channels.
Yeah. Okay.
So one's my personal, but the other one is going to be From Pain to Purpose. And what else? But I have my faith-based podcast, the Mighty People Garden podcast.
People Garden. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fun.
Yeah, we got to keep all those in mind, and we are. Hey, look, we just the three of us. Of course, me and Eva are already on military broadcast radio. Healy, you're an uppercomer. Yeah, exactly. You're an uppercomer. You're on here today.
Yeah, we're waiting. I'm waiting. I think H Train has to do some stuff it's whatever. I don't even know, but I gave him all my.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then it's going to be coming up.
Yeah.
I would. Eva is one of the co-hosts here. I'd love for you to consider coming on co-hosting. Also, Eva's going to be, she has it right now back to back between this and then her new show, Pain to Purpose, which will follow immediately after this program. That's only in 45 minutes, Eva. And
no nerves. No nerves.
No nerves. She's working the kinks out right now on the Freedom from Struggle show. But folks, I just want to remind you, we got our guest here today, Healy. We're going to be talking more with her about her works and what she's doing and why she does it. We're all three veterans, and it's, like I said, it's 13 minutes after, so I won't go too much more into introductions or talk about our military past. But the Freedom from Struggle show, I am a Celebrate Recovery leader at First Baptist Church, Biloxi, Mississippi. And of course, now, hey, that's, we're on the coast here. We've always been on the Gulf of Mexico. Now we're considered a part of Gulf of America, the northern coast. So, hey, look, whichever way it is, Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico, it is a Gulf, and it is just south of me. If I turn my head and climb on the roof, I can probably see it, and but otherwise I'm on the back bay of Biloxi. But at First Baptist Church Biloxi, which is close to my home, and that's my home church that I go to, and we actually have a Celebrate Recovery group that meets every Thursday night. And Celebrate Recovery is for men and women. It's for community. It's for anybody. It's not just for the alcoholic or the person that's been struggling with addiction, but it's for sinners. I mean, it is really for sinners. And it doesn't matter how bad your problem is. Here's what they go. It doesn't matter what your hurt, habit, or hang up is, what you're struggling with, or maybe your biggest hurt is that somebody else is struggling with something real bad. Well, it's for you too. Much like, Alcoholics Anonymous, Al-Anon kind of go hand in hand. One is for the actual alcoholic, the other one's for the family member, whoever is dealing with an alcoholic. And Celebrate Recovery, we just all meet together because we all have struggles. We all have hurts, habits, and hang-ups we need to get over. When we come back from our break, here a word from our sponsor, this time we're going to have actually station identification and actually a song, one of my favorite songs, and that we've been playing here at MBR. I'm going to play that here momentarily. But I tell you what, our country needs, we have got to come together 100%. We are a family. We are a country. We are within the confines of the United States. We make up the United States of America. And just like they say, a church is not a building, it's a people. I really think the United States of America, it's not just a piece of land. It's a people that are together. We all have our differences, no doubt about it. But it's a struggle even in itself, with politics, things that go on and things people need and so such. So we'll talk about that a little bit more after the break. And right now we're going to slip over here. We're going to hear a little song. And it's kind of patriotic, if you will, okay? But let's listen to this.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey. Of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana to the golden coast of California. Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop. And his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the light. Mr. Red, White, stars and stripes, red, white, and blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price. Oh.
It's time for a vacation, and Fairway Travels is here to share great specials for you to choose from. Discover the charm and features of one of Sandal's 16 all-inclusive, luxury included, adults-only resorts, or a family-friendly beaches destination in the Caribbean. Or how about a couples resort in Jamaica? If cruising's your preference, get Thunderstroke aboard Carnival Cruise Lines or set sail on an award-winning Royal Caribbean ship. Join Virgin Voyages now for a wonderful adults-only sailing. It doesn't matter if you choose to travel by plane, train, automobile, cruise ship, or rowboat, we can help you reach your dream destination. Contact Fairway Travels today at 228-365-1012. That's 228-365-1012. Or email bookitnow247@gmail.com. Fairway Travels, where your journeys keep satisfying.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
And we're back here on the Freedom from Struggle show. We have our co-host Eva with us and our special guest of the day, Healy. And once again, I just had to do that. I got pumped up with my patriotic song there and thinking about taking a big old trip, with Fairway Travel. And putting military broadcast radio, I'd like to put the military broadcast radio across the Gulf of Mexico, out into the Caribbean Sea and just see what all we can find. Okay, maybe we'll schedule us a Veterans Day cruise here shortly, and we'll invite people to come on that with us, not only the host of the shows, but also our sponsors and all our folks that out there in a podcast land or YouTube land, wherever you're seeing the program. Hey, once again, I wanted to say, Freedom from Struggle, I really started this podcast based on recovery, knowing people, veterans, everybody, and the general public. We all have so many different types of problems that we face daily, so many struggles. And that's why I noticed in Freedom from Struggle, by working the 12 steps that Celebrate Recovery uses, and they're based on the same steps that AA uses, NA use, and other 12-step programs. And right now, I just want to share some of those with you. I usually read a step or two or three, and then the biblical comparison that goes along with it. So let's look at that real quick. Of course, I'm going to have to share my screen because I haven't got it ready yet, but it's coming close. And we do it just like this and see if that'll share. And if it doesn't, hey, I'll still share it. But it looks like it's not going to work. Doggone it. That's not good. I got to have my steps up there. But I'm going to read them if everybody will just listen. The first step, the 12 steps, the biblical comparisons, is we admitted we were powerless over our addictions and compulsive behaviors, that our lives had become unmanageable. This is when we finally, at that point, we finally come out of denial, and or it could be used even with the tragedy just happened with the 2 aircraft incidences that happened the last few days of January. People are affected by that, but a lot of times we're powerless over that shock that it causes, that tragedy causes, and our lives can become unmanageable. Romans 7:18 says, I know that nothing good lives in me, that is in my sinful nature. For I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. Okay, and secondly, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could be pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. And that's strong and it's so important. And if you really want to transform your life, I just want to put hopefully in your heart and in your mind that you'll consider using steps like these that can help bring you out of the struggles that you're facing, to really understand that you can't face it alone. It has to be somebody else. We can't. We're human, right? We're human. We have sinful natures. We have things that some of the, Eva, you mentioned earlier, you could have you had an accident, you experienced a tragedy.
Which accident?
Which
I've had
one
plenty in my
exactly?
life.
But as we were talking about that, though, you were saying, you know, how you can have an accident and it could cause you to get where you start using, you know, pain medicine. Say you had some pain medicine, you know, and then you can start abusing it, or it could cause you, you know, man, maybe
But
I've
it
got to
may not
return to
even
drinking or
be
have a drink, something. I got to have some kind of relief, you know.
right. It may not be that you're abusing it, but just following the doctor's orders can cause you to not function well. Uh,
Exactly.
because I think part of it, Healy, are you a veteran too, or you are? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, she responded yes. That we grew up as being soldiers and airmen and we followed orders. So the doctor telling us to take a pill, we're following those orders and not realizing that it's causing probably a different set of issues that we just are not aware of.
Might getting a band-aid for one thing and causing other problems, who knows what. And we know so many veterans, you know, ourselves maybe even, but definitely others that have been medicated or treated in certain ways where it may be, you know, and because of triage, I mean, hey, they take care of things, you know, on a quick, you know, you go to the triage and then before you follow up with your primary care physicians or physical therapy, different things like that. But a lot of times those band-aids are put on stuff and it's really, yeah, it keeps us performing, you know, keeps us performing. And most of the veterans, you know, that, you know, I know, I can't, man, just so many of them, I know they aren't quitters, you know, they keep the fight, they keep going. And not also talking about that denial, not willing to acknowledge, you know, sometimes we might get stuck all up in drinking or despair, if you will, just, you know, that negative type, the depression, the anxiety, and we're just caught up in it and we stay in it. And until we come to that point, you know, come out of the thing and say, man, I've got a problem, I need help, and come out of that denial. Sometimes I say denial. I mean, it's always no doubt denial, but so many of us, especially veterans, especially people that might be in very professional type career fields, doctors, attorneys, nurses, you know, and so many of these different, or somebody that's got charge of a heavy responsibility, you know, and you don't want to admit weakness, that you got something going on with you, and you sit there and hide it. And that's not good for us, you know. Got to get away from our pride and go ahead and seek that help medically that we might need. But here's another way right here with these 12 steps that you might be able to take care of those issues and not make it public, because our thing is based on anonymity, just like AA or NA. I care nothing about my anonymity. You know, that's part of my, I believe it's part of my recovery, is to help share with others. And although I haven't experienced exactly what they've experienced, Healy, I mean, I know you know also, as being you're a licensed counselor, I believe you said, I'm not sure how long you've been doing that. We'll find out. But we learn from these things. And a lot of times, I don't know, I think I've gone through a lot of things just for the experience to have looked at it and say, hey, look, now go help others, you know, and kind of build from it, instead of, you know, oh man, I had to do this, I had to, you know, just experience this or that, you know, and man, you know, no, do something with it. You've been there. Don't keep secrets from people. Try to help others. What do you say about that, Healy?
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said. I was thinking that, you know, I think it's AA that says we're as sick as our secrets. And I believe that, you know, when we do not share our struggle, well, there's so many components to that. But when we don't share what is going on, that keeps us captive and we can't be set free. So we stay sick. And I mean, you can get help in private, but it is really part of the healing process when you can actually share it with someone. Now, you don't have to go public. You don't have to go on YouTube and share it, but sharing it with some of your friends or your family or something like that is part of the healing process. That's why Celebrate Recovery is one of the reasons why it's so helpful, besides that it's based on truth, that because there is a community, and it gives you some dignity, I guess, back, because you can share, and others have gone through that too. Because one of the things I think does keep people sick a lot is like they're embarrassed because they're going through it. They think they're the only one. No one can understand. It means I'm weak because I have this problem, and that keeps a lot of people stuck.
You know that step 5, you mentioned that, and I'll just go ahead and say step 5, where we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our hurts, hangups, and habits. The Bible says, James 5:16 is the first part of it. Therefore, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. And my goodness, really, when you think about it, it's pretty darn simple. But it's so difficult and hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that might even have something to do with the, even if you say something, I mean, people hold grudges. We know that people, it's hard to forgive, but God forgives us, for what we've done wrong. And if we can come to accept that, for me to come to let Healy, or let Eva know some of my hurts, habits, and hangups, get stuff off your chest, and I think by us doing that with each other, it can help answer a whole heck of a lot of questions, and that people have, but it just allows that healing.
Yeah,
it allows that healing, Healy. The healing, Eva. The healing.
That is, like, I think that's one of the enemy's tactics to keep us captive, is that you better not share it with anybody because they're going to think you're just so bad. And that's
weak.
Yeah. I mean, somebody might, but
things come out.
And God created us for relationships. So we need to do that. Yeah.
Eva, what say you? Kind of agree. I know. I mean,
she's on mute.
I thought I unmuted. Sorry. It happens.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to monitor some of the comments on here. I'll show. Let's see. Don DeLong posted. He said, I lost family and friends even at an elementary age to illegal drug use and grew up around so many alcoholics. So I've always been fearful of addiction to drugs and alcohol. And, it's tough because when you're surrounded by it, you're almost wondering, how did I not succumb to it? Right. I mean, I think I've been very fortunate. His other post was about taking medication, and sometimes he would just forget. So it's a blessing to forget. I mean, I don't take any prescription medicines now if I can help it, because my body just doesn't respond well to meds.
Right. Everybody responds to medicines different, I mean, there's no doubt. And well, good for you, Don, on doing that, and being able to hold off on the pills, because hey, I've got a very addictive personality myself, and it's easy to get tangled up. Like I got tangled up into my alcoholism. I got tangled up into it, and then being the career field I was in, plus the military, kind of turned into a wild guy, then turned into just a drunk guy, and finally I was blessed to get that behind me back in 94. So all to God's grace, I give God all the glory for that, because it was definitely his doing, not mine. And I definitely accept that, and look, let's hear another song real quick, just break the monotony there. It's A Soldier's Prayer, and by John Michael. Let's listen to it.
60 years went rolling by. It was here we said goodbye. The war was brewing, it was extreme. We were only teens. I knew the day I died, all alone, my brand new bride. Our favorite song would be a sign I'd be back in time. So raise a flag with pride and grace. I seen the pain on a soldier's face. Bring me home, both sides say I'm a soldier of the USA. You weren't alone all these years. I seen you cry, I know your tears. You raised our child and a family, all without me. You've done well with your life, lots of friends by your side. I heard a nightly secret prayer, I was always there. So raise a flag with pride and grace. I seen the pain on a soldier's face. Bring me home, both sides say I'm a soldier of the USA. Now it's time, my lovely wife, to bring you home. Say goodnight. Close your eyes to our favorite song. Can you see me now? Can you see me now? One day we'll come back in time for those we leave behind. But for now, we'll watch them grow. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
And we're back again here, Military Broadcast Radio, the Freedom from Struggle Show. And Healy, what do you think about those two songs? They're pretty good songs. You may have heard them. Have you heard them before?
No. I was thinking I heard the first one, but I definitely thought, I don't remember the first guy's name, but I was like, he needs to go on The Voice.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
Yeah,
it's good stuff, huh?
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
the second song, I don't know, both of them
Yeah.
just kind of is hair raising to me. They
Yeah.
mean so much. We can relate, and
Mhm.
just amazing, really amazing.
Yeah.
Look, Healy, once again, we talked about the service. So what branch of service were you in?
I joined originally and did the Army Reserve for about 7.5 years and then went active duty for about 5.5. So altogether 13 years in the Army. Go Army.
All right. Hey, go Army.
You know?
Look, I came from the Army too. Actually, the Air Force. But you
Well,
know,
I
started with the
That's
Army,
just
right? And then the Army Air Force. You know, we're not quite that old. So
Nope.
we weren't around back when they signed that National Security Act, you know, what was that, 47? But go Army, no doubt about it. Navy,
Yeah.
Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and all our oh my goodness, all the dependent spouses. Ooh, you know, it just goes on and on. All our providers that we have on bases that help, you know, it's just an amazing organization. It comprises of a lot of veterans and civil service type folks, and of course the families of both, and you can't forget them. And man, it's just great. That we got military broadcast radio here, and Healy, as you learned, it's a way to give veterans a voice. So we're sitting here able to give a veterans a voice. We also have some civilians that pop on that support the military, whether they're family or in other positions, but it has an effect some way or another. But I just want this show, Freedom from Struggle Show, to be I don't know. Hopefully, you get somebody. If one person gets something from it, Healy, I figure it's worth it, right? And
right.
And it might be the one big thing of this show is to introduce you and go ahead and get you recruited on in here and get you started on a show. Even if you want to come, like I said, co-host with me, pop in here and share something about your show each week for a couple of weeks until you get yours, finalized, and that'd be great. You'd be welcome. Eva's been on here. I know some of her time's going to be tied up here pretty soon. She's headed back to DC. She's got her show and her other podcast she's doing. Man, I don't know how she does it all, but
podcast, it takes a bit. I mean, it takes a little bit of time. I've got this talk I got to give in a few weeks, and I've been trying to write my because I've got to do 3 different ones. And so I'm trying to write all those out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have time for my podcast. So I pulled an old talk I'd done and did my podcast on that. I was like, oh, thank goodness. Because I wanted to try to go. I'm about 3 weeks out. But anyway, it's a lot of work.
There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I was talking to Joel H. He's my mentor, right, on this podcast, and he's the first person I talked to, just like when you first talked to the MBR. But I wasn't doing podcast already, and I just had to pop right on in, and I'm still behind on some things. I believe some things I'm pretty good with. As far as planning a show, I'll get a visitor, just like Healy. We didn't talk really before that. One little message on there. Oh, yeah, we'll talk about this or that. And then you mentioned later, or we can talk about goats, if it comes down to it. And which I found that so humorous. And so, folks, you never know what you're going to get here on the Freedom from Struggle Show. We may be talking goats here in a few minutes,
Well,
sounds like Healy is a shepherd of goats. She's a goat shepherd. You have some, huh?
Right. They're called, I just wrote a book called The Worried Little Goat because I am a goat herd. That's what they call, it's like a shepherd, except for goats, goat herd. And so I thought I'm really excited about it. It's got it's not I did another children's book, and it's very faith-based, like the message is like right there in your face. This one is underlined, like if you weren't a Christian, you probably won't pick up on it, but if you are, you'll probably pick up on it. But I thought it would be a fun way to introduce kids to goats, and hopefully they learn a little bit from it.
Okay. Well, I like it. I'm loving it. I like it. I love it. And I thank you for sharing that. I'm really glad we got to get you on the show today. We tried to a few weeks ago, and some things had come up, and I believe one week we didn't even have a show. But look, we got you here now, and we're happy about it. We're thankful for your time and service. And hey, look, I know that me and you we're sitting here talking here on this Freedom from Struggle show, right here around Red's Round Table. And look, we got a lot. You're my sister, and like Eva, she's my sister. And I love finding brothers and sisters, especially here in podcast land. And with other veterans, we have things in common. I know you're a licensed counselor. I'm not licensed in any shape or form, and that's the big thing about Celebrate Recovery, which we do. And I harp on it because I tell you what, I've seen it. I've seen Celebrate Recovery that started out, in California, I think of the Saddleback Church. And, there's a lot of people that are able to celebrate recovery because of what they started back in the 90s. And I'm a believer in it, and being a Christian and being trying to be faithful to the Lord and in what I do, on a daily basis. The podcast here, it gives me a chance to help share that, and also to encourage people to take this step, and get in a recovery program, a 12-step recovery program. It might be that you actually need a a counselor. And sometimes, you know, and that's, I mean, hey, you know, sometimes we have to have that. I've had my share of them. I believe I got an appointment in 2 weeks, you know, and at the VA, you know, it's just because of ongoing and checking on things, make sure medication's working correctly, and this and that and the other, or if anything else coming up. But I think, you know, big thing when I continue to see them, it's not that they're prescribing new medicines. I'm getting to share some things that I'm experiencing, maybe get a few things off my chest, letting that other person know about it, you know, and hopefully they even get something from me. You know, I found a lot of my providers have gone through things themselves, right? And it's part of it, though. I mean, but man, to get into a program, like I said, whether it's got to do with licensed counselor like yourself, I'm thankful that you're able to share also, because you're sharing obviously a lot of good free information to folks that take the time to view your program. And
Right.
I would hope people would think the same here with us, and especially with us being able to introduce the audience to someone like yourself that is definitely a professional, right?
Yeah. And we can be therapeutic without being therapist. So, you know,
Yeah,
just like activities can be therapeutic, even though it's not technically therapy. Yeah.
that's another thing where I sit there. Of course, I got my veteran experience, and so I relate in somewhat with the military broadcast radio, because I mean I got 28 years of service, 20 years active duty Air Force, 8 years civil service, and so I got this, and I miss it. I'll be honest with you, I miss it right now, but I just can't. I can't do things. You know, I might be able to do something 50 hours straight, or I might not be able to make a 3 hours, 3 hours out of 8 hour shift sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things that I've struggled with. And you know, it has to do with, you know, ailments, I guess, but also that anxiety, depression, things like that, things that I let get at me and it works at me. Sometimes, you know, I cope with it real well, and sometimes it takes a few minutes, you know,
Right.
and, but usually I know there's always a phone call away from somebody, which is a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then just, you know, trying not to be going through some medical stuff, stomach issues and stuff like that, it's physical issues. And I tell you what, man, you feel like you're dying, you know, and then you start getting anxious. And that's been one of my big problems, you know, to sit there and say it and it's such a simple thing, really, you know, but it can be so difficult at times. It's like it's just like, oh, wow, you know, it's tough. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just some of the experiences I've had. So the Freedom from Struggle show in relation to Celebrate Recovery, and then, you know, having the Bible, you know, hey, I'm a faith-based therapist, right? You know, I mean, in a sense, faith-based counselor, if you will. It's a wonderful thing that that the Lord's been able to allow me in my life. And being initially led by my parents, you know, grew up in church, and able to be able to use that. I have great resources, Healy, as you know, and my greatest resources right there is the Holy Bible, you know, and it's book of life, and it tells everything in it. And I can always go to that for reference, and that's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So where's your practice? You want to share where your practice is at, or is that are you public like with all?
Yeah, I'm a licensed counselor in the state of Arkansas, and my practice it's a solo practice. It's me,
Okay.
and it is in Northwest Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my full-time gig.
Okay. All right. So that's what your
Yeah.
career
Mainly,
is.
yeah, I've been in the mental health field for about 17 years, and work a lot with anxiety, depression, trauma, grief. So a lot of those things, and then just the regular stress and having a hard time in
Well,
life.
hey, the battle and struggle's real, you know, and I know it's not just me. It's not just the person next door. It's that person you see in Walmart, the person you see at the movies, you know, on a cruise. I like to go on cruise, but you know, everybody, you never know what somebody's going through. And that's another thing. It's just like, man, be nice, you know, to others. Be
Well,
nice.
if we can get mentally healthy, which
And
is the
get
point of my podcast, I think people will be nicer and kinder to each other, because then we're not all caught up in our own stuff. Because a
Right.
lot of times when people react or get offended or all that, it's some of their own stuff from, hurts or whatever that's gone on in the past.
Right.
And so
Right.
once they can work through that sort of stuff, you
Right.
can become nicer. It doesn't mean you're going to be that 100% of the time, but at least we're striving for like 80 or
Right.
90, right?
Exactly.
And we're not like, in our own stuff all the time.
Right, right. And that's a big thing, with the 12 steps. So I sit there and I harp on the 12 steps. They're such a good tool to have and to be able to use. And especially in the way that I'm using it, along with the Bible, and the verses that pertain to it. But it's a constant work in process. You're each day you constantly do that day. Just because I celebrate recovery from alcohol, I still need to make sure I'm going through my daily inventory and making sure, keeping straight, keeping right, make sure you're on the right foot. Make sure you're watching and stay. And I always say staying on the right path. The path is narrow and we have to, it's a constant, some of us has to pay a little more attention to it than the next person. Some people already know, they're well on their way. They know that path. They're following it correctly. Some of us, hey man, we got to make sure I'm not veering off that path a little bit, and it's a great way to do it just by, keeping that inventory and, but constantly, delving into those things, because it could be something, a trauma or something that you had years and years and years ago that is really what caused this whole thing that you might struggle with. And it might be just as simple as that, becoming aware of that. And now, really, especially if you get retired, so then you look back or older and you look back like, man, why did I let that bother me so much? And now that's been causing me all this anguish all these years, and wow, all I had to do was do that. And I would have, but you forgot what even caused the initial problem that might have caused you to drink or caused you to abuse pills or to be ugly to other people or not forgive somebody and not, having that hardened heart and not being, man, hey, we've all got it in us. If we can dig it out, we got that good in us. I really do believe that. And I know sometimes people are trying to survive. They're fighting for their life, and there's more than one way you can do that, and there's more than one reason you have to do that. And it's not always that somebody's chasing you. Sometimes you're chasing yourself. And
that's right.
Anyway, well, Healy, I'm really happy you were here with us today. And now on the Air Force, on the Army, what was your job? Did you have one specific job while you were with the Army? Was it in the mental health field?
No, it was in administrative. I was administrative specialist with a Foxtrot 5 identifier, which is a postal clerk. That's what I did in the Army Reserve. And then when I went active, because my undergraduate degree is in broadcast journalism. And so I wanted to do that. I know, funny, huh? That's what I talk about in my podcast. It's like, wow, this is like what I'm trying to do. Even though I'm not, don't judge me on my the quote.
No. But, hey, right.
But anyway, so I studied broadcast journalism, and that's what I wanted to do when I went active duty. And the recruiter, how's it? They can be and encourage you when maybe that's not true. And so he said, "Oh yeah, you just go in as that, and then you change over once you get in."
Right.
Yeah.
And
then
whatever whatever career you want to, you want to fly, fly the fighters. Yeah. All you got to do is just switch over to it.
Yeah, and my accent's a little bit not like, well, probably nowadays it wouldn't matter so much, but then I think it was a little bit more not great. But they didn't have any places because there's only a limited number in that MOS, at least back then.
Right. Oh yeah.
There was a limited number, so they didn't have any, space or whatever the word is for me to be able to transfer over. So I was a little bit. Recruiter both to go into the Army Reserve too is a lot the same way. Like, oh, don't worry, it's like camp. And I get in and I'm like going, I think I want to kill that guy. It's like, this is not like what kind of camp did he go to? Because this is killing me. But that's okay. I made it through, and happy to do that. When I went active duty, though, within about 30 days, first they had signed me to an infantry unit because they thought, based on my name, I was a guy. And so,
really?
Yeah, my last name was different then, but
Right.
my first name, I don't know. Apparently people can't tell. And so they thought I was a guy and assigned me to the infantry unit. So I was quite shocked when I walked in. But then, because kind of that mentality that, women shouldn't be there, I got sent almost immediately to Somalia. And
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
what year was that?
That was in 93. 93?
Really?
I think so. Yep.
You didn't happen to come on the way to or from, come back through Lodges Field, did you?
What is that in this country? Or
that's a gas station out in the Atlantic. It's Lodges. It's in Portuguese islands of the Azores.
Oh yeah, I think we did go. Yeah, because we did stop there. But look, I was guarding all the equipment. They would not even let me off the plane.
Oh really? Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, they're like.
I met a lot of people at the Top of the Rock Club there at Lodges Field, Azores, and because I manned the club. I was not, I wasn't paid, but I had a special seat, an office there at the club. And that was back in, I quit drinking in 94. I didn't lose my seat, but I quit drinking,
Yeah.
But
that was,
I remember all the troops. I always talk about all the troops that came through the Azores in 93. From Somalia,
That's
and then
funny.
seeing all the movies from that, now it's amazing. Healy, we're about out of time.
Okay.
We got just a couple minutes before we're off the air, and we're going to be switching over to from pain to purpose. With our co-host Eva is now hosting that show. I want to share the Serenity Prayer, and then we'll say our goodbyes. Okay. And once again, because the way I've got it, I'm not going to be able to bring it up on the screen. But let's just let me say this prayer. If you're driving or in an unsafe condition, don't be closing your eyes while we pray here. But Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. Trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen. I want to thank everybody again for being here. Healy, I really thank you for joining us. Tracer Rounds, I see that's actually one of our managers there with Military Broadcast Radio saying, be nice to humans. And I agree. We got to be nice. Do unto others, you'd have them do unto you. It's kind of biblical. But look, we're going to say adios to everybody. We'll see you again next Saturday, 3:00. Who knows who our guest will be? Who knows if I might be able to talk Healy into being my co-host and hearing a little bit more about her work. Y'all have a good day, good weekend. Make sure you don't stop following. Let's go ahead and let's slip on into the Pain for Purpose right after we close out the show. Y'all have a great day.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military.